Hi everyone and welcome to Debut Live. My name is Sophie Hawley and I am Diversity and Inclusion Manager for Vodafone UK and Group UK. So what that does, it looks after about 17,500 employees across 9 different sites, over 400 retail stores and lots of people that work from home.
Hi everyone, I'm Wilcox. I work in Diversity and Inclusion with Sophie. I am brand new to Vodafone UK and I am in my first month of the Discover graduate programme within HR.
So we're here today to talk to you about equality, empowerment and the importance of LGBT plus networks. The reason why we've been asked here to talk to you is that our LGBT plus Friends Network was set up in 2015 and by 2018 we had won the coveted award, which is #1 employee network via Stonewall.
So today specifically we want to talk about the different ways to be an ally and how we can be an ally. But to get into this we first need to understand what an ally is. So an ally is anyone that agrees in equality and fair treatment for anyone who identifies as LGBT plus or is within the network. And there's also an important distinction to be made between an active and a passive ally. So a passive ally is someone who thinks, I'm happy for anyone to be whoever they want to be, it's fine, it's none of my business. Whereas an active ally is someone who will step in and stand up for someone if they witness discrimination or harassment and actively wants to learn more about the community and help those within it.
So while we're live today, don't forget to send in your questions via the chat box at the bottom. We will be answering all of the questions at the end, or certainly trying to. And for those that aren't answered today, they'll be answered in a blog post that will be posted in a couple of days.
So, the 5 ways we can be an ally, as described by Stonewall and agreed upon with Vodafone. So, #1 is educate and empower yourself. #2 is listen. #3 is to be visible and challenge. #4 is to influence others. And #5 is to understand that being an ally goes beyond just LGBT+. So, #1, educate and empower yourself. It's important to educate yourself so that you can help educate others. So conducting research allows us to help others learn. And this is what we've done at Vodafone.
So in July 2018, Vodafone partnered with Out Now and Stonewall to conduct some research with young LGBT plus people. So we surveyed over 3,000 people in 15 different countries, and 20% of the respondents came from the UK alone. One of the main stats that we looked at was that 41% of all 18 to 25-year-olds went back into the closet when starting their first job. We do not think that this is appropriate. We want you to come to work and be fully comfortable with who you are and feel that you can be yourself. So what we've done is we've created our LGBT plus Friends Connect program. This is a multi-country program, so runs in both the UK but some of our other markets as well. And one of the things that we did with this is we created, in partnership with Stonewall, a 1-day training course for all of our graduates to go through called our Discover Inclusive Leadership Programme. We've put this year over 400 graduates through this training, and Faye actually went through it last week.
Yes, so I went on it the other week and it's such a great day, such an insightful day. So I would say that I'm an ally of the LGBT plus community, and I thought I was quite up to date and understood the challenges faced by individuals within the community. But there's so much more to learn and I'm constantly learning. We should all constantly be learning, but that's something I learned in this day with Stonewall. So we talk through different pronouns, the terminology and language you should use within the community, how you should never make assumptions, and the ways we should act within the workplace. And I came out of that day learning so much more and being aware that I need to keep learning as well to grow. So the second way in which we can be an ally is to listen. So we need to provide a safe space for anyone within the community to have someone to talk to and allow them to feel supported. And we need to listen without bias and discrimination. And an important part of this is also making it clear that you're there to listen to someone. So for instance, one example within Vodafone, we have lanyards and we have LGBT plus friends lanyards. And wearing this is just a small symbol that you're there, you're either a part of the community or you're an ally, and you're there to listen to anyone that may need you.
What we also do is we offer anyone that joins the business access to a buddy. So it's an LGBT plus buddy, so it is someone that works in the business who identifies, and they are there when you're first starting out to make you feel comfortable. for you to ask any questions to, and to discuss anything that you're either not feeling comfortable about or things that you need a little bit of help with. We also have a fantastic online portal internally, and what you can do is become an accredited ally. So you go through different training and different stages to become up to a platinum ally for LGBT plus and friends.
So the third way we can be an ally is to be visible and challenge. So this is going back to the, rather than being a passive ally, being active and being proactive, and we need to make ourselves visible. So the research we conducted with Out Now showed that over 80% of respondents felt the need for policies, programmes, initiatives to be clear to allow them to understand that the organisation takes LGBT plus issues seriously. And also over 80% said it was important for them to see managers taking these issues seriously. Also, as we said, 41% of 18 to 25-year-olds go back into the closet when they start their first full-time job. And one of the top reasons, with 60% saying so, for this, is that they fear that they're going to be judged or have some kind of negative reaction from anyone that they come out to.
So what we do at Vodafone is we have a lot of visible senior leadership champions, both that identify and those that don't identify. So Neil Blagden, who sits on Vodafone UK's general management team, is the chair of the LGBT Plus Friends Network. He's the exec sponsor. And what he does is he talks at many different external events, but he also talks to our graduates and to any new people that join. So everyone that joins goes through an induction programme, which is a one-day training course which gets you up to speed on everything you could need to know about Vodafone UK. And within that, we talk about our networks, how you can join, how important it is to us at Vodafone, and also Neil comes in and talks about how important it is to him. What we also do is we don't just want to talk to our employees, we want to talk to those that are interested in joining us. So the stuff that we do via our recruitment channels is very important. On our careers website, we have lots of different blogs from lots of different employees. And we also have lots of blogs from our LGBT plus and friends network, people and those that identify and those that support it. So there's lots of different stories on there about how they feel supported working at Vodafone and how important it is for them to be part of the network. Also, on all of our job adverts and any marketing that we do, we ensure that our language is fully inclusive by using Textio, which is an inclusivity app. We also do a lot of work with our customers to ensure that we're showing that we are completely inclusive. So this year, we partook in 7 prides that range from Glasgow all the way down to Brighton. Not only did we partake and we marched in 7 prides, we also allowed all of our retail stores that were near a pride to have their own kind of celebrations in store. So we gave them what we called Pride in a Box, which was their little box to decorate their stores. What we also do, which is not just for Pride, this is all year round, each member of our retail store team have flags underneath their name badges. These flags will show what languages they speak, but it will also show whether they are part of our LGBT plus friends network. We think this is really important to show our customers, just by way of a visible kind of both the lanyards that Faye discussed earlier, but also the name badges, that we support LGBT plus inclusivity. We've also done a lot of work in the last couple of years on trans inclusion. We have a lot of policies in place for our customers to make things a lot easier, smoother, and less daunting for them to change their gender and also change their prefix.
So the fourth way in which we can be an ally is to influence others. So everyone as an ally, we are lucky enough to have opportunities to discuss being an ally, discuss issues within the community with anyone we want to. And we can use our platforms to amplify the voices of those within the community. And we have numerous different ways of doing this at Vodafone.
So our network for LGBT plus was also called LGBT plus and friends. You've probably heard me talk about it already. It means that our network is completely open to everybody to join, those that identify and those that don't identify. What we want to happen is a ripple effect. We want you to join the network, feel comfortable, support everyone, either be comfortable being within the community or comfortable being an ally. We then want you to go out and encourage your colleagues, either your employees if you're a manager, or your managers to join up and to be accredited as an ally so that we can really build a truly inclusive workforce.
So the fifth and final way to be an ally is to understand that being an ally goes far beyond just LGBT+. So it's important to understand that each individual has lots of different elements to their identities. They may identify as LGBT+, but they also have their elements such as faith, ethnicity, gender, and many more elements to understand and be aware of. So because of this, we have to be aware of multi-layered discrimination. And it's also important to tackle this by using the sort of intersectionality of the different networks within any kind of workplace.
So at Vodafone UK, we have 5 different networks. We obviously have our LGBT Plus and Friends network, we have our Women's network, we have our Black Professional network that are currently celebrating Black History Month. We also have our Armed Forces and Friends network, and we have our Multicultural Inclusion network. All of those networks work with each other. They're all driven by employees. They're all driven by wanting to feel inclusive and to celebrate the differences that we have. They are constantly learning from each other. It does mean that our LGBT plus network gets talked to quite a bit, being that they are Stonewall's #1 employee network group. We all work together on a daily basis to ensure that we are being as inclusive as we can, and also being great networks for people that want to join in something that's really special. Below all of this is the slightly kind of boring stuff, but it is the most important stuff, I believe. All of our HR policies ensure that we are building inclusivity. So we have equal opportunities policy, which specifically mention characteristics, both protected and non-protected, and we have our anti-discrimination policy. So all of this is written into kind of the DNA and the makeup of Vodafone UK.
So now we've discovered the 5 ways to be an ally and how we can be an ally. Why is it important to be an ally? So firstly, it's just the right thing to do. We want to build a safe and inclusive environment for all our employees to come to work happy and loving being at work, rather than fearing harassment or discrimination, which makes them avoid going to work.
We also want to be an employer of choice. I would love one day for somebody to say that Vodafone UK is the #1 place to work. Obviously, me and Faith think it is, but we want everyone to feel like that. We want people to be actively choosing to come and work for us because of how inclusive we are, because you can come to work and truly be yourself without fear of discrimination or feeling uncomfortable. Also, it is really important to build a fully diverse workforce. We are a customer business, therefore it is important that we build the same customer base that we have internally so that we can fully represent everyone's points of opinion. So thank you so much. We can see that we've got loads of questions coming in, so I will start with the first one. Oh, this is for you.
Yes, so Zakia says, hi, how long is the graduate scheme? So the graduate scheme I'm on is 2 years, and that's the HR graduate scheme, and that's the general one. Finance is 3 years because you get accredited with the SEMA qualification, but 2 years in general, and within HR, it's 3 placements, 6 months, and then a year-long placement to finish on.
So Salma has said, how can universities better promote LGBT plus initiatives that companies like Vodafone have? So I think it's really important that universities do this. And I think that it's important that students tell universities what it is that they need. So, you know, a company is only as good as its employees, and it's exactly the same with universities. So if you are interested in learning more about it, maybe what you should do is have a chat with your university in general about how they are inclusive and how they could be more inclusive, and start to understand what it is that needs to kind of happen and what people in your campus are saying about feeling inclusive at university.
So Khalid says, what are some of the biggest changes you want to see when it comes to equality in the workplace? So for me, I think it's great that we have the legal requirement to report the gender pay gap. But I think it's important that organisations, big organisations, are held to accountability on numerous different elements within equality. So sort of an ethnicity pay gap, which I think is sort of coming, but just more accountability so that all organisations feel the need to push equality within the workplace.
I completely agree with what Faye's saying. It is very important that we drive equality in the workplace. I'm a bit more idealistic than that. I'm very much a bigger picture. Let's see where we can be in 5 years. Wouldn't it be great if we didn't need to talk about equality in the workplace? That every company completely represented what the UK environment looked like and what the UK population was, and everybody knew that they could come to work and be themselves and not fear discrimination. Mine's a little bit more like Miss World saying they want world peace, and I do understand that, but that is what I would like to see in the workplace. So George has asked, what advice can you give to anyone who is looking to create a more inclusive atmosphere in the workplace? I would start with the basics. So the stuff that I said at the end, all the kind of boring stuff, I would say that you need to start looking at your HR policies to ensure that they are as robust as they can be and as inclusive as they can be. I would also say that you need to look at the wording on your website, to look at what you are putting out externally so that people can see what it is kind of as a business that you are putting out into the UK. And I would have a chat with your HR director. What it is that, HR directors are the HR of people and kind of change in the organisation. I would have a chat with them and see what it is that they think that is diversity and inclusion and whether they think that the organisation could be more inclusive and work with them on it.
Yep. Thomas has said, what's the company culture like at Vodafone? So for me, it is a very inclusive culture, but it's very much, you're very supported. So especially being just embarking on my journey within the graduate scheme, I feel I've got lots of support, and you get a buddy when you start. There's just a lot there. There's the graduate community, which for me has been amazing and the main reason I chose Vodafone. But you feel like there's constantly support. There's lots of different routes you can go down if you need any help, any advice. And I've never yet, and hope I don't, feel isolated at work. I feel like there's always someone there you can talk to for advice.
One of our key behaviours at Vodafone is to challenge. Now, I think I would say that is what the company culture is like at Vodafone. It is to challenge, it is to speak up when things don't feel right, but it's also to challenge the way in which you do work or your manager is asking you to do work. It is an incredibly innovative and proactive business, and I feel incredibly proud to work for Vodafone UK. And obviously, I have to say it's inclusive, but I genuinely do believe it is. And Face felt super supported because I'm a great manager.
As you're saying, the challenge side of things, even as a graduate coming in, we are pushed to and welcomed to challenge anyone senior than us. If we thought they were doing something that could be done in a better way, we were asked to and encouraged to challenge anyone, regardless of their position, their seniority. We are really pushed to challenge what we see in the workplace to try and make improvements.
Do you want to go? You can go next.
Zainab says, why did you choose to apply to the grad scheme you're on? So I chose HR. I did psychology at university, and I was always far more interested in the behavioural, actual people side of it. And within HR, it's a bit cliche, but you genuinely can make a change to people's lives because work is a massive part of people's lives. So within HR, you have the chance to help people, and that's why I chose it.
So quite a lot of these, obviously, I would expect that are grad related. So do you want to ask? So Mustafa has asked to Faye, what are some of the opportunities you've had whilst you've been on your grad scheme? All 4 weeks of it.
Yeah. Well, we started with a really good induction. Yeah, this for a start. We had a really good induction. So we had the first week we were mixed with all the UK and all the group grads. And we had a really good week then, just learning about the culture of Vodafone, learning about ourselves as individuals. The second week we were located in a retail store, so we had ground sort of hands-on experience within Vodafone stores. That was really interesting and really good to understand who our customers are and what the customer base is and what they want. The third week we got to go around to call centres and understand what they do there. And then finally we started our actual role, within which already I've had the chance to go to some really interesting events. Been to in London today doing a really interesting event, especially the placement I'm in, and I'm sure all the other placements, there's just lots of exposure. And like I said before about being able to challenge sort of senior members of staff, you're not treated like a grad, you're not sort of told to go get coffee, you're really thrown in at the deep end in a good way, but you get lots of experience to the area and the sector you're in.
So Catherine has asked, what's been your favourite moment at Vodafone so far? So for me, I've been with Vodafone just over 18 months. And it is an amazing company. doing what I do means that I get access, you know, as Faye has said, to lots of different people, to lots of different things. But I would say that my favourite moment was signing the Employers' Initiative Against Domestic Abuse. So I come from a CSR background, so I come from corporate social responsibility. I used to run a lot of charity programs and charity partnership programs, and that to me kind of bridged the gap between what an employer should be doing and what we should be doing out in the community to support kind of vulnerable people. So we signed that. Elizabeth Filkin, who is one of our foundation's trustees, has kind of set that up. And every quarter we go to the Houses of Parliament to discuss how we are putting that into place. That to me is just a great way to show that if companies all come together and stand up against something, that you can make a real difference.
So I'm focusing on the graduate questions, but Zakia says, is the graduate scheme only for undergraduate or for postgraduate as well? So it's for anyone that has graduated within the past year. Yes.
I don't know. What we can do is check that and stick it on the blog if that helps. I don't work in recruitment.
I'm pretty sure it's within the past year, so it can be postgraduate, you can have just finished a master's, as long as it's just within a year of you graduating.
What makes Yuko, sorry, has asked what makes Vodafone's work different to other companies when it comes to LGBT issues. What makes us different is that we listen to our network. It is our network that sits with our senior leaders. It is our network that sits with me on a weekly basis and says, this is what's come up, this is what we need to look at, and I kind of then take it away from a HR perspective. But we've done some pretty amazing things. So we have a couple of trans colleagues within Vodafone that have sat up and said, you know, our customer policies are not robust enough and they are not easy enough for the trans community to navigate around, and wouldn't it be great if we could be the #1 kind of customer or the #1 telecommunications company for trans people to come to. So we set up a marketing session, we spoke to our trans colleagues, we spoke to our trans customers, and what we said was, it's not good enough, so how do we change it? And that all came from one employee saying, I think we could be better. And that is what we do at Vodafone, and that's what the network do, is we strive to be the best company within the UK for LGBT plus inclusion.
So Jake has asked, are there any ideal qualities that a candidate should have when applying to Vodafone? So Sophie might know more about specific qualities, but I think it's really important to know all the way through the recruitment process. Because I did psychology and I didn't have that sort of business background, I was concerned that it wasn't okay to come from a psychology degree. But it's really not about the degree you do, it is about the person. And I heard this through the recruitment process and I thought, oh, they're just saying that, but it genuinely is about the person. We have people doing finance who did a geography degree, so it's not, you don't have to have done a degree that matches the scheme you're applying to perfectly. It is about you as a person.
It's about the behaviours that you show, and it's about, I suppose, your integrity and your passion when you're in an interview. Whenever I interview anybody, I'm looking for what makes them tick and what gets them up in the morning. You could know absolutely nothing about D&I, and but if you're passionate and you know things, then I'd be more than happy to employ you. So we have, we're kind of running out of time, so we'll come to the last question. I think we should answer Matt. Do you have any advice to graduates who are interested in your role? So for me, as I said, I was working in corporate social responsibility and I transitioned across to diversity and inclusion. And as I said, it's about your behaviours. I am very much passionate about making a difference and making everybody feel like they can truly be themselves, whether that's through charity work or through the HR work. I didn't study any of this, so I'm probably not very helpful in terms of advice, but what I would do is if you're interested in this stuff, do some stuff at university. So I set up a charity at university and I ran that. I also do a lot of volunteering as trustees at charity work. I do a lot of extracurricular reading for government papers. I follow lots of different lobbying groups. So if you're interested in this stuff, actually be interested in it. So read about it, research about it, and kind of make sure that you are keeping up to date with what's going on. So that's all from us. So thanks for watching. The video will be available soon, as will the blog, and there'll be lots of different stuff for you to kind of look at from the stuff that we do at Vodafone UK.